黒人の侍よ。お前は誰だ？
Yasuke.
もう一回聞く。誰だお前。
Eusebio Ibrahimo Baloy.
名前なんかもう知ってるよ。今回は最後。何者だ？
わからない。
Yasuke, the Black Samurai. I learned about him while I was studying Japanese at university. A lot about him has been lost to time, like where exactly in Africa he came from, but he served under the daimyo Oda Nobunaga until 1592. After Oda was attacked and forced to do seppuku, Yasuke fought under the Oda heir, but was eventually captured. We don't know what happened to him after this. So Yasuke has become something of a legendary figure, especially among black anime fans. He inspired the popular 2007 anime Afro Samurai before appearing in his own self-titled 2021 anime. I was excited for it, believe me. But unfortunately, when I watched the 6 episodes, I was left disappointed. Before I get into why, I should say that the writer, LeSean Thomas, planned for this anime to have multiple seasons. But since there has been only one so far, and no indication of more in the future, I'm treating it as a single season anime. My first big issue with this anime is that it's not Yasuke's story. Not really. I rewatched it recently and I can't think of any way that this character grew throughout the course of the 6 episodes. Instead, the story is about a girl named Saki who he protects and who helps him to defeat the antagonist. Saki starts the story as a sickly girl with magical powers. By the end, she gains control of these powers, to the point that they no longer make her sick. But what's Yasuke's story arc? He starts the anime as a man who seems to be hiding from his past, a man with regret over having failed his master. He does seem to overcome this, but it feels more of a side arc, an afterthought, than the central point of the story. Story-wise, it's okay to have a main character serve the narrative purpose of helping another character grow. This doesn't seem to work for Yasuke though, because he's such an anomaly in history and in anime. He's a foreigner given the rank of samurai, a more skilled fighter than any other. What motivates him? In other words, the anime doesn't answer the question of who he is, and it even contradicts the few answers that it does give. For example, in a flashback, we learn that Yasuke is a member of the Yao people. His Portuguese master, enslaver, I don't know, says that the Yao people have a strong sense of cultural identity. And yet, this is contradicted immediately after, when Oda gives him the name Yasuke, and he just accepts it. He accepts a name that essentially erases his cultural identity. Just like that. When Oda Nobunaga brings him in and has him trained in the art of fighting, Yasuke takes to it well. In fact, he also embraces Oda's ideology of uniting Japan under one rule. Why? What about his previous Yao identity? Does it not matter to him anymore? Does it inform his opinion on the ideology in any way? Traveling to another country is a big deal, especially when the country is full of xenophobes who think you don't belong there and who think you will never fit in. Yasuke never has any issues fitting in though. He masters the Japanese language and masters swordsmanship. That's fine, but the point of Yasuke is that he's a foreigner. How does his early life in East Africa impact his life in Japan? Does he want to go back home? Why or why not? Basically, you could have replaced him with a Japanese-born man and the story wouldn't have changed much at all. And that's disappointing. Part of the issue comes from the fact that his acclimatization to Japan is shown through flashbacks. There are people who look down on him for being a foreigner, but he takes it all in his stride and it doesn't seem to bother him. It's a past conflict and not one that he has much trouble getting around. The anime's fantasy elements are a missed opportunity too. It's fairly common in historical anime for there to be fantastical and sci-fi elements, so I'm not complaining about that or anything. However, it would have been interesting if they gave Yasuke himself magic, and made magic a core part of samurai identity. How would Japanese magic compare to Yao magic? Are they ideologically different? Similar? Does he have to unlearn anything? Adjust his magic somehow? All that would have been interesting to see. There is an African magic user in the anime, a Benin shaman. It was cool to see his magic, but it doesn't help me to learn anything about Yasuke himself. So basically, after 6 episodes, I don't really know who this character is. I don't know his motivations, his past, or what the future could possibly hold for him. Even if this anime is picked up for a second season, I don't have much reason to look forward to it. And that's a shame. This character, the title character, had a lot of potential. That said, I hope there are more black main characters in anime in the future. Maybe I should watch Afro Samurai actually, and compare it to Yasuke. That should be interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Ken Kwame, and I'll see you next time.